My name is H.J. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Please go ahead and share my latest article in the Daily Caller, Free Julian Assange. It is below in the pinned comment. I also have the great pleasure of announcing I'm going to start a new YouTube channel in addition to this one. Of course, I'm keeping this one, but I'm starting one. I just asked YouTube if I could go ahead and start this channel because I had read so much and I figured maybe I just won't use YouTube for this channel, but if I can, that I will, of course. And they wrote back to me and they said, as long as you abide by these policies on content featuring firearms, YouTube prohibits certain kind of content, any content that intends to sell firearms, provides instruction on manufacturing of firearm ammunition, high-capacity magazines. So I won't be doing any of that. It'll just be me enjoying the Second Amendment, shooting some really, really, really cool guns. And I'll actually read off. You know me. You know how annoying I could be in the beginning of segments. So I'll actually read off the YouTube policy requirements before I start shooting every segment, just because I want the channel to be compliant, and I want the channel to eventually be monetized. So, but it's going to be awesome, really awesome, and I can't wait. You'll love the name too, and like I said, it's going to be safely and responsibly and enjoyably shooting some really, really cool and awesome firearms. And it's just going to be me, literally just me enjoying the Second Amendment. I'm not a gun guy. I'm not a person that, is going to be able to give any advice to other gun owners because I'm learning from other people. Like I'm watching Hickok 45 and the Yankee Marshal and Demolition Ranch, although that's pretty awesome. I don't know if you could start that awesome channel now. But Collier Noir and other places. There's Kentucky Ballistics. That's a really, really great, channel. Not as big as the other ones. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is just be me happy, enjoying myself, and being responsible and being careful and responsible, and maybe providing some insights here and there, because I am going to be shooting some pretty cool guns that I don't think most people have. Anyway, that's soon, within the next 2 weeks, hopefully, on a new YouTube channel. Of course, I'll be telling everyone on this channel, to subscribe and watch some cool stuff. Anyway, what do we have here? This is just unbelievable. Wall Street Journal, suspected FBI mole planted in Trump campaign. So, I'll read you. This is the Western Journal, Conservative Tribune. So, we know quite a bit about how the FBI watched the Trump campaign, including going to a foreign intelligence surveillance court no less than twice to get a warrant on a minor Trump apparatchik. But does it go deeper? The Wall Street Journal's Kimberly Strassel thinks it very well could. In a published piece Thursday titled "About That FBI Source," Strassel postulates that information on an FBI source that the Department of Justice was forced to reveal to the House Intelligence Committee may be evidence of an FBI mole inside the 2016 Trump presidential campaign. Quote, "The Department of Justice lost its battle with Congress Thursday when it allowed House Intelligence Committee members to view classified documents about a top-secret intelligence source that was part of the FBI's investigation of the Trump campaign," Strassel wrote, "even without official confirmation of that source's name. The news so far holds some stunning implications. Why was President Obama's administration and FBI and DOJ allowing a source the infiltration of Trump's campaign? That's never happened before. This is unprecedented. How do you justify this? How is this justified? How do you justify just a source within Trump's campaign? First of all, how do you justify a $35 billion budget for the FBI, CIA, and NSA without a shred of U.S. intelligence? What can you buy for $35 billion? You can buy conspiracy theorists in the media and even infiltrating into YouTube, telling you that Trump worked with Russia somehow. There's some kind of link. There's no evidence, but they're going to weave and spin and create a collage of all these mysterious events. Well, how come Michael Cohen was paid money from people? Well, he didn't give any access to Trump. Well, how come the Trump Jr. met with a Russian attorney? Well, the Russian attorney met with Fusion GPS before and after the meeting, and Trump Jr. never got any emails. Furthermore, if he ever did get emails, it wouldn't be an example of treason. Hillary Clinton used an unencrypted server for 5 months, where she transferred top-secret intelligence from Cypernet, JOX, and SCIFs onto her server, and then deleted 30,000-plus emails, but she did so for her own reasons, the Clinton Foundation. If the world hacked into the server, which it did, Defense Secretary Robert Gates states Iran, China, and Russia almost certainly hacked into the server. That's on Clinton. So now the big issue with Trump Jr. is that he never even obtained any emails, so that there was no exchange of anything. But getting back to the main issue is this. Not one shred of intelligence from the U.S. intelligence community was used to start this entire probe. The Mueller probe was started from Comey's memos, which is hilarious. Never before have the recollections of someone's gossip-filled notes been used to start an investigation. James Comey, what he stated was just pure gossip. The president can go ahead and speak to the FBI about any investigation he wants. If he doesn't think it's worthwhile, it's within his right to do so and speak to them. The issue with Michael Flynn was that he didn't commit any wrongdoing. He spoke to Sergei Kislyak. That's not a crime. And furthermore, all his communication was wiretapped and surveilled. They found nothing. He didn't even lie to the FBI, to Peter Strzok, who, by the way, interviewed Clinton. Peter Strzok also. Lisa Page is now out of the FBI. But Peter Strzok deleted 5 references to gross negligence and wrote in a text, gross negligence meaning that he basically saved Clinton. She should have been indicted. These 5 references would have directly correlated her actions to U.S. Code 793F, pertaining the wording is gross negligence, but it doesn't matter. She actually intended to do what she did, which was break the law. But all of this is complete and utter nonsense. $35 billion. Not one shred of U.S. intelligence or work from the United States intelligence community was used to start this. GCHQ starts spying in 2015. No evidence, just, there are some people that, that Trump is associated with that then possibly are associated with some other people on our radar, our Russian radar. Okay. Meanwhile, in 2010, Bill Clinton actually meets with Vladimir Putin. No investigation there. Even though there's an FBI informant, William D. Campbell, working for the FBI, compiling evidence saying that the Russians have information on or have compromised the Clinton Foundation and Obama's administration. He told that to 3 committees, and the rebuttal was, well, there's no evidence. There's the evidence. If a person's recollection is evidence, there's an FBI informant who stated that he saw, he heard, he witnessed Russian lobbyists and Russian operatives say, oh, well, you know what? We have influence over the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton's State Department. It's only a matter of time before we go ahead and achieve Vladimir Putin's energy goals inside the United States of America. Robert Mueller is the FBI agent, the director of the FBI, while all of this is taking place. Robert Mueller allows a bribery and racketeering scandal on U.S. soil, and then years later presides over a Mueller probe. But the bribery and racketeering scandal was started by a Russian energy official sent here by Vladimir Putin to ensure that yellow cake uranium was shipped out of the country. That's in the New York Times. So this is all public record. The energy official is then, the Rosatom official is then indicted and sent to prison. This happens under President Obama, but miraculously, it doesn't influence the Committee on Foreign Investment. And all the while, money is flowing into the Clinton Foundation. That now they're worried about money flowing to Michael Cohen to influence Trump, but Michael Cohen and Trump did not communicate. Michael Cohen wasn't even part of U.S. government. Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State as money was flowing to the Clinton Foundation. Money was still going into the Clinton Foundation as she was Secretary of State. That's the big issue. And she did favors for Boeing. She did favors for UBS. She did favors for Uranium One. 20% of U.S. uranium capacity sold, and the only justification is, well, 16 agencies signed off on it. Well, how does it help the country? If indeed Vladimir Putin is the worst criminal on the planet, how does it help the country? So now you have not only the crimes, all the crimes or all the illicit activity that Democrats and Hillary Clinton have accused Trump of committing without any evidence. The evidence shows that they've committed all of this. They worked with Russians, which is fine, but if you just be honest, they worked with Russian operatives to compile a Steele dossier. They try to criminalize speaking to a Russian person, which is just the most xenophobic, the most prejudiced, bigoted mentality. These are the same people who rely on social justice warriors to patrol the internet and Twitter and harass people. These worthless, pathetic fools. And it's like they don't know they're helping the Democratic Party, but all of this is just this giant paradigm or groupthink of people who say anything goes. Anything goes. If we have to go ahead and infiltrate Trump's campaign, we'll do so. This is the insurance policy, by the way. Because 3 days before the election, the New York Times stated that Clinton has a solid electoral college lead. But I'll read you. So Strassel noted that the DOJ and FBI outright hid critical information from a congressional investigation. She pointed to Speaker Paul Ryan's press conference about the material after the material was released Thursday, in which she, quote, bluntly noted the intelligence chairman Devin Nunes' request for details on this secret source was wholly appropriate, completely within the scope of the committee's long-running FBI investigation, and something that probably should have been answered a while ago. By the way, United States, your tax dollars and my tax dollars are going to funding this secret source. You think he's doing it for like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Or she? Whether this person is actually working for the FBI or very likely just somebody that they just planted in Trump's campaign. And this issue of a campaign plant, this is like months back people were speculating. Now they're like trying to say, well, oh my God, you know, Trump knew that Michael Cohen paid money to Stormy Daniels. So what? Well, it's a campaign finance violation. Good, get Clinton first. If everything is a tit for tat, then all the most egregious crimes are committed by Clinton. So get Clinton first. Then see if you can try to convince a judge that money to Stormy Daniels was actually a campaign finance violation or a loan. See if you can try to convince yourself of that. After going after Correct the Record, which, by the way, the same people who believe that Stormy Daniels the issue could be a campaign finance violation, those same people, the watchdogs, they're not nonpartisan watchdogs, fine. They believe Correct the Record was a campaign finance violation. They believe the $80 million funneled through the DNC into Clinton's campaign was a campaign finance violation. They certainly believe that the money flowing through Perkins Coie, her law firm, was a campaign finance violation. The around $9 million that eventually made its way to Fusion GPS and CrowdStrike. She purchased a DNC hack. It was a leak. We know from Elizabeth Voss and Disobedient Media and Adam Carter and The Forensicator, and William Biddy, an NSA legend, Ray McGovern, a CIA legend, veteran intelligence professionals for sanity. These are all people that have broken this amazing story that the DNC was a leak. It was a leak, not a hack. And meanwhile, the Nation and all the others are kind of like trying to utilize the information they worked so hard to obtain or to write about and publish. You have other people saying, oh, well, it could have been this. Well, they got that from disobedient media. But anyway, all of this points to a really massive conspiracy of individuals. The conspiracy theory is that James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Bruce Orr at the DOJ, Nellie Orr, his wife, Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele, and Sidney Blumenthal and Cody Shearer were all a part of it. And let's not forget everybody else. BuzzFeed, journalists at Mother Jones. These are also, all of these people just acted independently. Maybe some did. You don't have to have all of these people converse with one another. James, I mentioned Comey. What you do need, however, is one goal in mind for all of these people to share. So once the Steele dossier, once Hillary Clinton purchases the Steele dossier, and then Bruce Orr gives the Steele dossier to the FBI, and then James Comey says, okay, good, great, now we have the insurance policy that Strzok was talking about. We can just, back up a Trump win in the event that he wins. Because there were probably some people in the government saying, you know what, Clinton is reviled. She's not going to win. We got to cover our backside. I was saying that in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon. So all of this, the conspiracy theory, there's two conspiracy theories furthered by Democrats. One, that Trump worked with Russia. We would have found evidence. We would have found some direct evidence of payment, information, emails. How come the WikiLeaks Podesta and DNC emails show massive conflicts of interest in the Clinton Foundation, but also they show that Bernie was cheated. We read the emails. They were pristine in the DNC emails, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and other DNC officials were forced to resign. It's really simple. It was a crime committed. They say it wasn't a crime, but obviously it was a crime. Really simple, not that difficult to comprehend. Really not that difficult to just comprehend. But with Trump-Russia, it's been, well over a year of the Mueller probe. Then you had spying before the Mueller probe starting in 2015 with GCHQ, and they haven't found anything. Why haven't they found anything? If there's this, you don't even need an investigation at this point. Well, actually, you never needed an investigation. The Mueller probe was started because Rosenstein fired Comey and then had to justify the firing of Comey somehow by saying, okay, well, you know what? We fired Comey and he was part of an investigation that was purchased by Clinton, where there's zero evidence he worked with any Russian hackers. And by the way, where are these Russian hackers? How difficult is it to find these people? The NSA has a $10.8 billion budget, the estimate is. They're moderately confident. You can't go ahead with $10 billion and come up with some certainty regarding the whereabouts of hackers that hacked into Russia. Now you have this Gucci for two ridiculous nonsense that disobedient media in my last segment exposed completely with the work of the Forensicator and Adam Carter, two amazing cybersecurity analysts, and the brilliant writing of Elizabeth Voss. There was no Gucci for 2.0. This is a profanity alert. Do not listen if you don't want to hear profanity. There was no Gucci for 2.0, you fucking stupid moronic Democrats. There was no Gucci for 2.0 because there's no evidence that this person was tied to Russia, and the ODNI report is only confident. The intelligence reports are based on confidence. Confidence linked to assessments. They're not fact. In fact, they actually state we could be wrong. That's what these people, like everywhere, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they haven't read the actual intelligence reports. If a person reads the DHS and ODNI reports, and I've done so endless times on this channel, there are warranty disclaimers. We could be wrong. Don't confuse our assessments with fact. All of these things. So it's like they're explaining to everybody, yeah, we can be wrong. Don't confuse. We can be wrong. All of this is based on nonsense. Now we know. Well, we already kind of knew, but now we know there was somebody inside Trump's campaign. There was somebody inside Trump's campaign. Not only did they try to find information And also, when you think about it, all of this is actually to fabricate, not to find. They knew that Trump wasn't working with the Russians. They knew that. Even Peter Strzok is like, yeah, if I had to bet there's something going on with Trump Russia, nothing. Okay. They knew that there's no evidence of Trump Russia. What they did was, though, ensure that there was enough smoke to justify some kind of investigation. This is very, very difficult, very, very dangerous right now. Ultimately, it's going to help destroy the Democratic Party peacefully and politically. But ultimately, and that's one of the reasons I'm voting for Trump in 2020. In addition to pretty good things like, peace between North and South Korea, which is an amazing, groundbreaking, paradigm-changing, landmark moment in world history. And yet, Democrats and people who hate Trump, they have this vision of him, and they don't even look at the president. They don't look at President Trump. They look at the vision of him, this imaginary caricature of everything they don't like in the world. And if they use that same standard to judge Clinton, they would hate Clinton just as much, but they don't. That's where the hypocrisy comes in. But let me just continue. Translation: the department knew full well it should have turned this material over to congressional investigators last year, but instead deliberately concealed it. So the Bureau also has some explaining to do. Thanks to the Washington Post's unnamed law enforcement leaker, we know Mr. Nunes' request deals with a, quote, top secret intelligence source of the FBI and CIA, who is a U.S. citizen and who was involved in the Russia collusion probe. So wait, the Bureau also has some explaining to do. Thanks to the Washington Post's unnamed law enforcement leakers, we know Mr. Nunes' request, the request to go ahead and find out who this source is within the Trump campaign, deals with a, quote, top secret intelligence source of the FBI and CIA. So you have James Comey and John Brennan, two of the most unethical liars in U.S. history, but two people also who hate Trump. President Trump is hated by John Brennan. He doesn't even hide his disdain for Trump. Comey obviously hates Trump, but Comey's a slithery little, giant reptile. So he'll slither back and forth into whatever position. He's really orange, and oh my God, he's orange, and he gets spray tanned. But I like the guy. This is the same thing that Comey did with Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe hasn't even been charged yet. He will be, but Comey's like, oh, by the way, I'll testify. Anything you need, I'll testify. So a top secret intelligence source of the FBI and CIA who is a U.S. citizen who was involved in the Russia collusion probe. When government agencies refer to sources, they mean people who appear to be average citizens but use their profession or contacts to spy for the agency. Ergo, we might take this to mean that the FBI secretly had a person on the payroll who used his or her non-FBI credentials to interact in some capacity with the Trump campaign. So this is just unbelievable. Could you imagine if, and the interesting thing is what Democrats did also, this is how they justify this in a subliminal manner. They justify all of this by saying, well, WikiLeaks published information that exposed us. So what we'll do is we'll do the opposite, but pretend that we're going in that direction. We'll literally just do the opposite and fabricate information, but we'll do so by, illegal activity. Publishing information is not an illegal activity, an illegal act. What WikiLeaks did was not illegal. To publish information, that's exactly what the Washington Post did. So when Spielberg goes ahead and produces or writes the movie or the script or whatever he did, produced the Post, he's talking about the Washington Post and the Pentagon Papers. But that's the same thing. You're talking about a real-life hero in Julian Assange publishing information. To the Democrats, that's, oh my God, you published this information that exposes us to be criminals and cowards and liars and deceitful fools? Well, we're going to go ahead now and we're going to try to do the same thing, expose Trump, except we're going to frame him. So that's how vile and underhanded they are. Insidious. Duplicitous. Whatever you... they say one thing, oh my God, these leaks are horrible, and then they leak to the press, and they use Comey memos, and they use gossip-filled Steele dossiers, and then BuzzFeed, who is eventually getting sued by people for defamation. BuzzFeed is suing the DNC because he can't corroborate the Steele dossier. And all of this was gossip and hearsay and nonsense because people don't like Trump, so there must be something going on there. Whereas there's a lot going on in terms of evidence and crimes with Clinton, but she's part of the gang, the crew, the Washington establishment. She's part of the establishment Republican and Democratic circles. She's part of the D.C. culture. She's been there for decades, yet she doesn't know what the C means. She doesn't know that C means confidential when it comes to classified intelligence. She's there for decades. She's the most qualified person on the planet. But oops, OMG, I'm so sorry. It was just a really big mistake. Clinton wants it both ways, all the time, always. She wants to be known as the most qualified person, infinitely more qualified than Trump. But then she also wants us to believe that she just, mistakenly transferred top secret intelligence onto an unencrypted server. In short, the FBI's intelligence actions during the 2016 election haven't been particularly effective, and we still can't be sure we know the entire story. If it goes as deep as a mole in the Trump campaign, it's yet another sign that law enforcement intelligence were weaponized by the Obama administration for political reasons. If this is true, it also demonstrates that the metastasis of the Trump-Russia investigation spread far further than any of us could have suspected. This is a great article. It is below the Wall Street Journal article is below as well. But you have a situation here where this is all a fabricated lie. Trump didn't work with Russia to defeat Clinton because they haven't even explained, and Mueller's going to have to defend this notion in court by saying that, oh yeah, the Internet Research Agency actually did influence the hearts and minds of Americans. $46,000 in Facebook ads will get you nothing. I've advertised on Facebook before. I can tell you, in my experiences, it's horrible. You get zero return on investment. I just, I thought that, I'll advertise, some YouTube segments. This was a while back. No, I didn't get any extra views, but my goodness, they charge an arm and a leg. If anything, the Internet Research Agency should sue Facebook. The Russian internet troll should sue Facebook, get their money back. Because it wasn't effective. Mueller and the Democratic Party haven't proved that any Facebook ads or Twitter bots actually influenced the election. What they've done now is this 1984 sad, pathetic, Orwellian groupthink. Well, anything that's against the Democratic Party is a Russian plot. Oh, well, the Russians want this. Okay. What about other countries who hate us? And I don't think Russia even hates us. The average Russian person really doesn't hate the United States, just like the average American really doesn't care, doesn't hate Russia at all. It's the Democratic Party that sold Putin uranium that allows Bill Clinton to get $500,000 from a Moscow investment bank, and millions flowing into the Clinton Foundation from Russian companies, or the officials at Russian companies. Bill Clinton has long-standing ties. He's actually friends with Vladimir Putin. So literally everything they're accusing Trump of, they embody. Working with Russia, well, you bought the Steele dossier. Campaign finance violations, yeah, you bought the Steele dossier. through, and you laundered the money. Oh well, you disrespect the intelligence community, Trump. Hillary Clinton, with Brennan and Comey, have made a complete and utter mockery of the United States intelligence community. God forbid. This is actually a serious. God forbid this country is asleep at the wheel. God forbid, and something catastrophic takes place. God forbid. It'll be one person's fault. You can trace any, I'm just saying that you use an unencrypted server with top secret intelligence, you are opening the world. You're opening a window into the most sensitive, most classified parts of the United States government. And you're allowing information that could help people who really want to hurt this country. So any future horrible, God forbid, thing you could trace back to exactly what we've all been talking about. We're all asleep at the wheel again because we're focused on, as a country, we're focused on, well, the media is, on Trump, Russia, still. Meanwhile, he's doing these amazing things, Trump. And if you don't like, the fact that he's, there's deregulation, all this stuff for the environment, that A, make sure you beat him in the polls. B, make sure you have a functioning political party to actually defeat him, which he will steamroll in 2020. And that'll be the complete and utter end of the Democratic Party. But also, make sure to be also outraged over the 10 Keystone XL the 10 pipelines that are just as large and just as sprawling as the Keystone XL pipeline that were built from 2010 to 2015 under President Obama. There was also a fracking boom under President Obama. You can't go ahead and say, oh, Paris Climate Treaty, and then the immense reliance on fossil fuels with Obama didn't bother you. It's just hypocrisy. And to say that, well, Democrats are better, the regulations are better, well, that doesn't line up with the rhetoric that we're all going to die because of climate change and the climate scientists. And I do agree. I'm not saying that climate change isn't real. I'm just saying that if indeed we're going to die from it and the planet is going to be a different planet very soon, then I don't think the vantage point that being marginally better than Republicans simply because of regulations makes a lot of sense. There should be a fire there that says, oh my God, we have to have renewable energies like the Green Party. We have to have a renewable energy economy within 20, 30 years. Democrats don't. They get paid by the same lobbyists. Hillary Clinton got paid by... she didn't even have a position on Keystone XL. She didn't even have a position on that. Anyway, we can go on forever. There's Democrats, the biggest hypocrites on the planet. Of course, there's hypocrisy on the right. But the biggest hypocrites, and you have people who are now who are actually dangerous. You cannot have a democracy. You can't have a functioning country if the intelligence community is utilized as opposition research, as a tool of one political party. The FBI, the CIA, and the NSA were tools of the DNC. That's it. I mean, I hate to say it, if you work for the FBI, the CIA, or the NSA, during Obama's tenure, not the average person, but the highest echelon of management, or the director and people like Peter Strzok, the number 2 at counterintelligence, were basically Democratic National Committee operatives. They basically just worked for the Democratic National Committee. And now what further proof do you need? The FBI had basically a spy within Trump's campaign, as if it wasn't enough that they engaged in illegally unmasking names and all of this stuff. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Subscribe right now to this YouTube channel. Let's get this channel to 120,000 subscribers. And thank you so much for listening.